Hey, boys and girls. So, just completed sick week, and I figure I give you guys a rundown because I see a lot of people get a little confused of what this really is for the slower cars. Slower cars. This is a slow car, okay? From slow car, I'm meaning 1150 on to 20 seconds. If you're in the slower categories, all right, this is not really a race, all right? This is not where you get to go out and make 4 passes a day trying to win a category. This is an adventure. All right, this is a road rally with a drag strip attached to it. Enjoy it. All right. I mean, there's a few classes where you might be competitive, like dial your own dial in. You might be a bracket racer, and you could probably get pretty good at that. But you might get 2 passes in a day. You're guaranteed almost one. All right. If you're the slow cars, you're going to be running last. That's just the way it is. And if you think about it, stop and think about it for a second. The show is the very fast, 6 second, 240 mile an hour capable cars. They are their show. So they're going to put those guys on first for two reasons. Number one, keep people entertained. Number two, they are more likely to have massive disaster out on the road. So getting them guys on the road first makes sense because those guys throw the valve train out and will basically do a top end in a parking lot. So, yeah, they get to go out earlier, but they might spend that whole time at some rest stop changing transmission, The thing is to enjoy it, all right? You get to go out there, watch some really wild, fast cars, fly down the racetrack. You might be able to give them a wrench to fix their garbage, all right? Their garbage is really awesome, by the way. But you might be able to give them a wrench. You might be able to push them. You might be driving down the road and find them broke on the side of the road and, hold a flashlight for them, whatever. It's something you can't do at NASCAR, right? NASCAR won't let you go to the Daytona 500, watch the race, and then let you drive your Toyota out there, right? It's not happening. This, we get to watch them. We get to probably be a part of helping them. We get to go to the same rest stops, follow them. We get to run our car on the track. It's a pretty cool deal, all right? I don't think there's any other sport or any other racing organization will do that. I don't think you can do that in the Baja 1000. Go out there and spectate and then get on the course and drive down the course. You might be able to, I don't know. Probably not a wise idea, if a trophy truck coming at you at like 130. But on this, we can do that. But I see a lot of people getting upset that they run the fast cars first. And yes, there are YouTubers in there. And the way it's set up is they have a time allowance for the class. So like I am in the D group here. That's the slowest of slow. A, B, C, and then D. A is fastest, B is the next slowest, C is the next slowest, D is the slowest, right? So let's say you get an hour and there's 5 cars in A group, right? Things are running 6 seconds. If they can turn the car around in 15 minutes, they're going to get 3 or 4 runs, right? It's just math. B group is going to be a little more cars because more people can build a 750 car than they can build a 6-second car. All right? Same thing with C group. You get an hour and there's 50 cars in C group, you're not going to be able to make as many passes as a group that has 5 or 10 cars in it. You get the D group, which there's like 100 and some odd cars in, you're probably not going to be able to make but 1 pass. All right? They will do an all run usually after D group or the slowest group, and you can come and run again. But I tell you the truth, by that point of the day, you want to get out of there and drive on the road because you got 200 miles. So just understand what it is. All right? It is a cool event that you get to go to, watch some of the most insane street cars run on the track. You get to run on the same track. You have the availability to stop and help them. Like I say, you can't cross the wall and jump over and say, hey, let me change your tire in a NASCAR race. Ain't happening, right? So if you want to, be in some place where you want to run and run and run all day long, 5 or 6 guys get together and go run a track for $300 each. I think that's what the going rate is, right? if you want to go watch some of the coolest race cars out there, run your car to prove your car is a street car. If somebody's saying, hey, that ain't a street car, this is an event for you. If you want to be able to work on your car and drive really cool cruises, this is an event for you. Now, I want to suggest this. D group is the slowest at sick week. That is 1150 and up. All right, that thing's a 17-second car. That minivan is faster than that buggy right now. Think about that. That minivan will blow the doors off that buggy. All right, I should have took the minivan. C-Class is 1150 down to like 10 flat, I believe. All right, so if you have the ability, build a mid 11-second car. On this thing, that's kind of a feat to do because it's 4-cylinder. You know, if it was a big block Chevelle, probably a little easier, right? So just know that when you're going into it, the faster the car is, the more chances you'll get to run, and the earlier you'll get to leave the track. Now, on Sick Week's behalf, I will say they did jumble the classes around so that basically everybody got to run one day first. First day was AB Slicks. I think the next day was like AB Radial. The third day was C Group. And then the fourth day was D Group. And then they were back to the AB Slicks because it was the end and they wanted to get the show going, right? So just kind of taking note for what it is. Now, what I'm going to suggest here is when you build something, think about what you're doing. I see guys with trailers, I see guys with roof racks, I see guys with a lot of crazy stuff. Make your car simple. That whole idea, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Do that, right? The good example is this thing. It's not simple. It is small. You have to run drag radials. So, I didn't drive. I could have drove on these, but a friend of mine brought up a good point. He said, you know, if you pick up a nail in that, you're over. You're done. I can't run those. So I would have to patch or figure out a place to get a new tire. Really hard to do for a drag radial up where we're at. So I had to carry the tires with me and change the tires every day. Not the end of the world, but it adds another step. Okay? Space. This thing ain't got none. All right? But, you know, you got to carry a jack, got to carry tools, carry a chair, some sort of tent or something like that to keep you safe and, you know, from the sun. A friend of mine, luckily he had a tent, so I used his, bummed off him. But you got to carry your clothes. So think about that when you're building the car. Do you want to put a jungle gym inside it for a 12-second car and you can't put anything in it? Just think about that for a bit. All right? Make sure the car is easy to work on. You know, I see guys that have all these cool ideas, but after a while, it's like, that's cool for a race car, but for a street car, it makes it really hard to work on, you know? Make sure you build it so you can fix it if something goes wrong. I see guys that have really crazy wild end parts, and if you're running, like in the top guys in the Volkswagen class and the K group, it's understandable to run 950s and be able to do what they're doing. They got to use exotic parts. Somebody's just going to be taking their car out there. You don't want exotic parts that you can't get, you know? It's where the turbo LS guys, it makes sense, you know? 700 horse turbo LS, you know, probably runs mid-11s, drivable, you know, simple setups. But just keep that in mind. If there are things on your car that take months to get, that are prone to breakage, you might want to bring a spare. That's the next thing. Drive around, find out what you're going to need for spares. You know, you don't want to bring everything in the world. People I have talked to that have driven on the drag radials like this, they're really fun. You know, Mickey Thompson ET Streets. If it rains, bad mojo. Okay, so if you're going to drive on a drag radial, you might want to have something that has some tread in case it does rain, because it does rain, and you don't want to end up in a wall. Cost, if you can take somebody with you, you can split the cost. I mean, it's like a $500 entry to this to do the 5 tracks. they do give you perks, like the Sick Week guys. They do feed you. You do get 2 T-shirts. You get entry to all the tracks. You know, there are perks. Plus, you get to rent a car. You know, but if you can split it up between 2 people, especially if you're having to travel from far away to start it, that is one way to keep the cost down, is a partner to come with you and split hotel rooms and stuff like that. You could camp at the track. I think some of the tracks will let you camp, but you know, it costs money to do this. It is really not a cheap thing. That's the truth. If you're going to follow along a drag and drive, you could just go pay entries to the tracks and whatever, but you got to park out in the Timbuktu parking lot, is where, like on here in Sick Ward, you get to park in with the race cars, which is pretty cool. It has its own set of perks, food, and other things, and I won't even go into it. You can look at their list on their website. Fuel. If you're going to run E85, plan for that. Really find out where gas stations are, if there is any, that run E85. I knew a gentleman, he was getting like 4 miles to the gallon. He carried 9. He had a trailer just for his fuel, because there were sections that we were going to go through that we did not know if he'd be able to fill up or not. So he carried 9 5-gallon fuel cans with him to be able to make the drive. So if you're going to run like E85 or something like that, constant, or I've seen even one guy like the year before ran like C16 the whole time, make sure that you can fuel your car up. All right. One thing about keeping the car simple. Oil downs is a big deal. All right. So the first day, don't get upset. They're going to oil the track down. That is just a guarantee. You got cars that have just started up that morning. You have cars that have crashed and wrecked in test and tune the night before and have been rebuilt and are out there now. So the first day will be oil downs. Don't get upset about it. It is just what it is. You know, if you want some sort of engine containment stuff, awesome. This thing's going to get engine containment. It is not going to be a fast car, but I am going to put a belly pan on it with a diaper in it, just in case. I don't want to be that guy, you know. But the first day is going to be full oil downs. The last day is going to be full oil downs. And the reason being is everybody's completed the week, right? That is the goal. Get through this. Not really to win, but to get through it and prove that this thing, you know, your pile is a street car. At the end of that, they say, you know, if I break the beams, I've completed. So I'm going to put it on kill. Last day is going to be full of carnage. First day is going to be full of carnage. So just plan for that. It's going to be oil down city the first day. All right. Can't change it. You're never going to change it. You know, rules won't change it. You know, it's just people aren't prepared. I mean, some guys may have been completely prepared, and then the motor scattered the day before or the week before, and they threw something completely different and it just compete, and thing has a loose hose, has a loose transmission line. Just, you know, be mindful it's going to happen. All right. Safety. Make sure that you have belts are in date. That was a big one. I heard people say, you know, they forgot their belts were out of date because it's right at the changeover of the year. Just make sure all of your safety equipment is up to date. I have more than they required because I don't want to get kicked out, guys. I don't want to come, you know, to an event that is far away and they say, hey, you need pants. You know, for what I need, the pants are cheap. $70, you can buy a set of pants, right? So just, even if you don't think you need it, buy it, and then you won't, you know, it's better to have it and not have it, right? They did check lights, blinkers, horn. They didn't check for flashers. They just checked turn signals, windshield wiper, headlight, tail lights, brake lights. If you're towing a trailer, I think you had to get that inspected too to make sure it had it. Obviously, current registration has to match the car. I know we got older cars, guys. Make sure your VIN matches the paperwork, because you could buy a car and it say something different, right? That can happen to people. But other than that, you know, it was a fun event. This is, like I say, the event is we get to go to some really cool tracks. You get to go some really wild scenery. You get to watch some of the fastest street cars in America rip down the track. You get to meet some really cool people, different countries, different areas of the United States. I mean, there's guys that come from Sweden every year. So, you know, it's really cool in all those respects. Just understand the first day is going to be oil downs. The slow cars are going to be driven last. And the last day is going to be full oil downs. All right? That is what it is. It's just, that's the way. The idea of making different cars run different days, I don't think that's cool, because, you know, you're going to end up with everybody complaining, well, why do we get to run on Monday? Why do we get to run on Friday? They do a pretty good job of running. Everybody gets a chance to run and then move on to the next track, right? I mean, if we ran the slow guys on Monday and Tuesday, well, they got two tracks. And then all the faster guys, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they got different tracks. So people will be like, well, this track was better prepped than that one. And I got shafted, blah, blah, blah. I think they do a pretty good job. Run everybody one day, move on. And that's another thing. That's a big operation. You go out to a test and tune, or even like on the Volkswagen events, we probably have 50 cars at a Volkswagen event. You know, to run 350 cars down the track, clean up after all the oil downs, clean up after some of the, like they went on the beach one year and everybody's dumping sand, clean up all that, and make it still successful where you're not there at 2 a.m. is impressive. All right, so I got to give my hats off to the guys at the tracks. You know, they're there in the middle of the week. They probably have another job they're doing. They came out to do it, you know, so just be respectful of those guys, because, you know, it's Monday morning. That's not what they usually do. But other than that, boys and girls, that's a little rundown, kind of what a drag and drive is. It's a really cool event to go through. You're going to meet neat people. Just know if you're a slower car, you're going to be last. It's just the way life is. All right. You know, at my track, they run the pro cars before they run anybody else. So it's just the way things are. They're easier to get down the track, you know. But hopefully I'll make some other videos here. Hopefully we'll transform this car into a one that runs in the C group one day. You know, 1150s. That could be done. I don't know if I want to do it. This thing's really short. But, you know, one day I might upgrade. So anyways, get out there, get your projects done. Sick Week 2024 is over. Let's get on to getting our stuff built for 6 Week 2025. I'll see you guys later.